Welcome back to the Northbridge Flute Academy, and today I'm going to be looking in detail at the fourth movement of the Sonata in E minor by Quantz. Now this is a lively Baroque work that needs to lilt and dance along like so much of the music from that era. It was almost kind of the pop music of its time, and it all lies somewhere between folk music and music to dance to. There are so many suites that were created with that whole purpose of being played in the courts so that people could dance to them. However, this music, if we're playing on modern flutes, I think it's much more complicated to play well because it was written at a time when the Baroque flute had lots of intonation problems. They were difficult instruments to control. And also, it was also written with a recorder in mind. So by nature, everything feels a little bit lower than on these flutes. Now, if you look through this piece, you'll see that there are very, very few moments, and they're literally just occasional notes where the actual music gets into the top octave of the instrument. Equally, we see that a lot of it is quite low down in the flutes. I mean, certainly in the bottom octave and sort of verging between the bottom octave and into the lower part of the middle octave. And this is where we've got to be careful, because it's terribly tempting on these things to force our sound. And in Baroque music, that's like putting your foot into the bear trap. It's snapping shut, and the more you struggle, the more the pain and the tighter the trap becomes. So we've got to be very careful. It's in this edition it's marked forte at the beginning. I would treat that really with a pinch of salt, because what we're after here is character before volume of sound. We want to create shapes in this. Now, we know that the first beat of the bar is the most important one, but if this were to be a dance, the movement to that first beat would be on the third beat. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. So without making it painfully obvious, it's not a bad idea in this piece occasionally to actually think of the third quaver or eighth note of each bar as the engine to take us to the first beat of the next bar. And in there lies shape. Now, of course, when we get to the first beat of which should be perhaps the loudest part of the bar, we've got to come away again in order for the third beat to dance us into the first beat of the next bar. What we don't want to do is to do it in such a way that we start making our audience feel a bit seasick. So it has to be very subtle. But I'll just give you an example here. Without first. Now, with some shape. And you can hear there's a sort of pulse to it now, which was lacking before. The version before was very metronomic. But this leads me on to the next point in this. There are a lot of articulated 16th notes or semiquavers in this work. And my question to all of you out there is, should they all be the same length? Now, if they're all the same length, you get this. For me, one of the most important things is actually what vowel sound we make after the consonant. If we're constantly playing with the same articulation, the music sounds rigid. If I vary the vowel sound, do da da do da da do da da do da do da dee da do da do da dee da do da dum, that transmits itself through the music, and we get this. Something to watch out for, in bar 35, we have this motif. Now, you may or may not have noticed that I put my little finger down for the E each time. If I was to turn, or if you were to turn your back and hear me play it again, you would have no idea whether I put that little finger down or not. But that is missing the point. We want our fingers to be as independent as possible, and we know those four fingers are very weak, so we need to encourage them to strengthen. And this is a point where you can actually get benefit from putting that little finger down. I'll play it again and face this way. And it really is something that if you're not already doing, kick yourself and get yourself in the future to do it. I have written an exercise for this in my book, the 28-Day Warm-Up Book for all flautists eventually. And the whole idea of the finger exercises is that we repeat the action. And the exercise I suggest that you do from the 28-Day Warm-Up Book is fingers 3, and it goes like this. It's a very simple Tafnel and Gobert based idea of a fifth scale, but with the fingers working in both directions. So we get and again you will see my finger, little finger right hand, doing that. Very, very important. Moving forward into the piece, we get to bar 80 and 81. And this is one of the rare moments, these two bars are some of the very rare moments where the flute suddenly peers into the top octave of the instrument by going up to a top E. Now, of course, having been low down for so much of the piece, unless we're careful, that top E is going to ping out and just sound ugly. So I would urge you in both bars to consider making a diminuendo up to the top E. If I do nothing, now with diminuendo, and it's just got more shape, it's pleasant to the ear, and hopefully you will get good applause at the end of the performance. From bar 83 to the end, we have trills, and I'm afraid this is a workout for that finger. Again, one of the two seriously weak fingers. First thing to do, don't tense up. People see a trill like that coming and you get this happening. And it just sounds filthy. So relax the fingers and don't play the trills too fast. So in the end we shall and that is everything that I can tell you so far about the Sonata in E minor by Quantz.